going on?
Hi, Pat. I have two for you. The first one is in the fourth quarter on Sunday. What stood out the most about the way Drew Lock led the offense?
Well, certainly we had him right where we wanted him, down 21 with only a couple drives left. But no, I thought he showed great poise. I think we learned from a couple of weeks previous, you got to take what they give you at times. And they were a defense going into it where they didn't give you a whole lot of opportunities for big plays, so we had to do that. And I think he executed well. He showed that he can lead us to victory. I think he can build on that. Obviously the challenge for us is obviously to get a faster start so that we're not put in those situations or putting ourselves in those situations. But, I was pleased that he was able to execute at a pretty high level late in the game. And then when forced to get one throw for the win, he was able to execute it.
Second question, you've had DeMar Dotson at right tackle for 4 games now. How does his experience play out on the field as you're watching it?
I like DeMar, but I like experienced guys, and he's calm and steady. He's been there, he's done that. And, without them even mentioning it, I'm sure some of the younger guys, can draw some confidence from that. But I like the way he's been playing. He plays hard. He's a tough guy. He's been helping us here in the last month for sure.
Thanks.
Next one, Brandon Cristal.
Coach, I'm going to ask you the same thing that I asked Coach Fangio about the 2 young tight ends. Without giving away a game plan, I'm sure there's you expect plenty of fans would like to see the 2 of them out there together. And Coach said that that's definitely possible. I guess, is it probable that we might see him from time to time out there just to stress the defense?
Yeah, well, they're on the field quite a bit together, quite frankly. I mean, with the way our offense is structured right now, we're down to only a handful of receivers. And with the move we made with Jake Butt, only a couple of tight ends. And so, yeah, I mean, they're on the field. They were on the field a handful of times the other night together. And I anticipate that they'll continue to be on the field together.
Next one, Jeff Flagwald.
Yeah, Pat, long ago, my dad used to tell me, you don't know how you're going to react when the crap hits the fan until the crap hits you.
Right.
In that respect, what did you learn about Drew Lock in the fourth quarter of Sunday's game?
Well, I don't know about, I think I'll just kind of add to what I said earlier. He was able to lead us to victory, and I think that's important for a quarterback. Somebody eventually will start doing the math and, start adding up how many, game-winning drives a quarterback executed and all that. So, I think that's important. Being able to make, clutch throws in critical situations, that's very important. It was hitting the fan the other night for sure, and I think being able to do that is helpful. Now, the flip side of that, and once the dust all settles, you got to say, okay, how do we execute better early? And I think that's the challenge moving forward. I think we would all agree that shooting 3-pointers at the buzzer is not the way to do this thing. But proving that you can do it, I think you draw confidence for that, because the reality of this thing is if you play enough games in a season, you're going to be faced with those situations maybe more than once or twice. And you got to have the confidence that you can go down there and get it done.
Next one, Andrew Mason.
Kind of in that same vein, going up tempo, certainly because of the compressed time frame late, seemed to help out a little bit. Would there be any thought to going up tempo at times earlier in the game if that helps him get into a groove?
Well, that's a common narrative. We have plays that we use strategically where we, have no huddle plays or fast from the huddle plays. And there's times where, if you're stalled out a little bit, maybe that's a way to kind of jumpstart things. But we were stressed for time and points, and that's sort of why we had to do it. And it works. And so I think that's normally where a lot of people go in situations like that when you score a lot or you get some scoring drives late in the game. Why don't you do it earlier? It's a good question. There's probably times when it would make sense, but then there's also other times where you got to just do things better early in the game not to be put in that situation.
Next one, Arnie Stapleton.
Yeah, and I know we've talked before about Tim Patrick stepping up, in
Yeah.
Corbin's. I'm wondering, what do you think Deshaun Hamilton has brought to the equation? He had those two big plays, I think, that kind of jump-started you a little bit in the third quarter, the third down reception and then the 40-yard score. What does Deshaun bring? There was a lot of questions that he'd even make the roster, this summer.
Right. Well, I'm fond. Listen, I'm fond of veteran guys, and in our situation, third-year guys are veterans, and they've been there, done that. There's a level of toughness to them. They're smart enough where you can line them up at X, Z, or F. That's what he brings. He brings a lot of the same characteristics and qualities that Tim Patrick brings as a veteran guy, and if you have a good offensive system, so to speak, the ball gets spread around, and every once in a while they come to you in bunches. It may not be one week or the next week. It's fond, I guess, of the fantasy football types to say, well, you're going to feature this guy. A lot of times you don't know how it's going to play out. The catch that he made where he scored, where he ran the post route, that wasn't really a front burner play for us that week. But by how the way they were playing some of our other routes from that set, we got to that. And so I would have never predicted he would have caught that for a touchdown. But within the adjustment of the game and him being in there, when it presented itself to him, he did it. And so that's more sometimes of how offense works than walking in and trying to predict what's going to happen. And that's why it's so important that the quarterback knows progressions. You have guys that can line up multiple ways. And when you dial up a play that's probably a back burner or a B-level play going into the game, but it becomes a front burner play, executing it. And so I think that's part of the thing that he brought to the table.
That's time for a few more. Next one, Kyle Newman.
Hey, Pat, before that fourth quarter comeback against the Chargers, how do you think Drew Lock handled just all the adversity, the offense struggling, the boos? How did he handle that on the sideline mentally and just as a leader?
Yeah, well, I think you got to shut out the boos. I mean, we all have to. But I thought he hung in there well, and I thought our conversations at halftime were good. And, when I was talking to the guys about, hey, let's go get one score, I don't think it fell on deaf ears. I think we got guys here that believe. The common narrative around here is, how's the defense reacting to this? And how, I think we have a really fine team. And, we just need to score more points than we were, obviously. And we found a way to do it.
Next one, Troy Rank.
Coach, how do you like Drew's personality with the confidence? He dances, I like that he has a tail that wags. I mean, as a coach, and you've coached for a long time, are you kind of cool with that, with your quarterback being so demonstrative? And the second part is, we get a lot on social media and asked us as writers, is there more action for Phil, or is it just the way that certain games have played that, once you went to more passing, Lindsay wasn't going to get more carries?
Yeah, well, social media. So I know you have to embrace it. You won't find me on Twitter or Facebook or any of that. I can tell you that for sure.
Yeah, I haven't seen you on there.
But no, it's the running back. The question about the running backs. Sometimes again it comes in bunches. And we have two. What we believe to be starting running backs. Phil does give us a nice spark when he's in there, and his run really did set the stage for our comeback, in my opinion. So I think on the inside, off Twitter and off Facebook, we have the same warm feelings for Phil as the people that you're responding to. But again, I think sometimes it comes in bunches, and some games are bigger bunches than others. And quite frankly, you need more than one running back, and they got to feel like they're being featured at times. With regard to Drew's personality, I think we all got to become the best versions of ourselves, and that's sort of who he is. I like to see him have fun. I like to see him be confident. I certainly couldn't perform some of those moves, and I wouldn't even try to. So, I think the thing, I don't know. I think the thing for me and the thing that I'm fond of the most in a player is guys that, you know, they can let their personality show, but, you know, I think they want to be confident and respectful and understand the moment and do things in a way that makes sense. So I don't know if that's answering your question. I think it's just, you know, my deal. I don't know. I'd rather, you know, a guy kind of shuts out the noise and not respond to it and then just move past it. You know, I think that's the best way to handle it.
Final one, Zach Stevens.
Hey, Coach, last week there was a lot of emphasis from you, Drew, and Coach Fangio about Drew going through his progressions better. Did you see him do that better on Sunday?
Yeah, I did. And, you know, I think that was evident in the last drive. You know, we executed that last drive in a short amount of time, and we had to take small bites, you know, or what did he say last week? He missed some baby throws. You know, so I think he hit some of those baby throws that help keep the drive alive. And then if the guys that are catching the ball in zones, then just kind of catch it and split the zones, then a short game can become a longer game. And so, yeah, I think so. And again, this is a game you have to practice. You like to see improvement from week to week, and you like to see kind of improvement in the things that you emphasize. And then that makes us feel good as teachers. And then you just got to build on it, because obviously then the challenge is to repeat it the next week and get better on it. And I'll go back to the become a better version of yourself, and the same thing applies in the fundamentals of the game.